A lot of people are
I'm
saying,
sorry for being emotional.
a lot of people are saying the fall of the American dollar is here. Your opinions on BRICS? Saudi Arabia just announced, Saudi Arabia, I'd say maybe it's on the fence for lack of a better word. We've just heard Mexico has just announced to be joining BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa and China. And we've seen a lot of images lately of Xi Jinping with Mr. Putin. And there was just a conference here in South Africa, I think it was about a week ago. And I had some interesting statements from Mr. Julius Malema as well, saying there will not be any Putin that will be arrested here. The ICC, the International Criminal Court, are hypocrites. What are your opinions?
Here is the American dollar. Here is a buyer. Here is a seller. The American dollar becomes the middleman between the transactions. And they've enjoyed this in terms of trade. They've enjoyed this in terms of oil, that all international products were earmarked and benchmarked in the American dollar. So Americans did not even need to become part of the deal. But because your transactions are based on their dollar, they were going to print their money to facilitate for the transaction. Without being there, the Reserve Bank of America would get a profit.
So that's what made the dollar powerful over the past
So
decades.
now the whole idea is happening that move this thing away. You want my gold, I want your silver. End of deal. Take what you want, I take what I want. And the American dollar is going aside. And the arrogance of the Americans, the bulliness of the Americans. Let me even throw it on the west side. America right now comes to Tanzania, comes to Ghana, comes to Zambia with 16 million. And guess what? 16 million only for Zambia. The 16 million, ask me, what is it for?
What is it for?
For human rights. Across the river, China and Russia coming to South Africa, ask me for what?
For what?
For a military training and skills sharing of security. So the Americans are more interested in a transgender, homosexual agenda around the world. They will invest their money and give you money to protect human rights. Russia and China are coming with weapons and militarization strategies so that we can protect ourselves. So I want to say this very loud and clear to the Americans. Continue on your transgender agenda. Stay there. Leave us to do politics on the other side. Because what we need right now is not a minority human rights activation. What we need is a societal transformation. And for you as Americans to think that we really envy that when you have an anti-lesbian, anti-gay, LGBT principle, then tourists would drop. Let me correct that once and for all, Sbu. And cut and clip this, and it must be loud and clear. Are you saying to me that all the tourists are gay? And when you hear that this is a non-gay zone, tourism will suffer? Question number one. Question number two. Are you saying that we don't have a right to expressing ourselves as Africans? Question number three. If democracy means majority rules and majority votes against a principle, then why won't you allow that to become law? Are you saying the minority must manage the majority or the majority must manage the minority? Then if that whole ideology is wrong, then take democracy in a nice black dustbin bag and throw it outside. Because what you are telling us is by the people, for the people, with the people, and all those slogans you hear, what democracy represents. If we are 10 in the room and 9 people say no, and one person says yes, democracy says you go with the majority. So if we say we want to make Africa democratic, and the demographics of our democracy says no, then why do you philosophically want to manipulate the will of the majority to favor the will of the minority? then this is where it really gets confusing to me. Because you're selling me one thing on one. I understand this democracy because it is based on the principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it comes to practice, no, you can't practice it like that. Then what do you want?